I thought we'd take a quick look back at a story that we have talked about on the show before, but now we've had some new developments as of just last week, and that is the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie case. The mystery of what happened to those two star-crossed lovers as they crossed the country in their Sprinter van. And, of course, Brian came home empty-handed without Gabby. Gabby was later found strangled in Wyoming. And now Brian's been found down outside of Sarasota at the T. Mabry Carlton Jr. Memorial Reserve, Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. And what I thought was so interesting about this, the remains that were found apparently were partial, very partial remains.
Is it just bones, basically?
That's what they said, bones and a piece of a skull from which they had to examine dental records to match up. So I guess it was about a half a skull. I mean, who knows what exactly happened to Brian Laundrie. Obviously, he died in some fashion. I don't know if that's where he died or if he died somewhere else and his body was dumped out there. But, of course, over a period of time, the animals would have gotten to him. Pat, you mentioned gators before the show, and that's possible.
Yeah, it's got to be a gator.
There's got to be some parts gators, but don't forget about the raccoons and, coyotes and buzzards, turkey vultures that we see flying around, those giant things that we see on the side of the road. Yeah, they'll clean you off.
But who did what? Because that was underwater for a long period of time.
That's what they said. I mean, but it's hard to know, right? What I thought the most interesting thing about the story is that it was apparently the first day the park had reopened, and the parents happened to go out. Brian Laundrie's parents went out allegedly searching for him and just found right where he was. They found exactly where he was. How long has the FBI and the police department been out there looking, supposedly searching all over, and then the parents go right off the trail and alone and start to find articles of clothing, and then it's hard to figure out exactly what happened, because they're reporting pieces of the story. They say they shuttled the parents out of there once they realized there was bones close by, and then it was identified as his body. I guess the answer is we will never really know what happened, except for seems like there was foul play involved, both in Wyoming and here in Florida.
Didn't they say they also found a journal or a diary of some kind? But of course, if that was underwater, what are you going to get from that?
Wouldn't that be interesting? What if he had one of those waterproof paper journals that he kept? Like some survivalist camping people, because it does rain a lot. I mean, what if there's special notes in there? Well, who even knows who would have written them?
Then over the weekend, they found a water bottle that looked like Gabby's.
Did they?
That's all over the news
preserve
this morning.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. See, I didn't even hear that. And I have to be honest, this is not a story that has been top of my list of stories, but since we have covered it on the show at the request of some of our listeners who said, why don't you ever say anything about that? I thought we would take a look back at it now that it seems like the end of the story at least is partially written and that we know what happened, or we know that Brian Laundrie is no longer with us. We don't know actually exactly what happened and may never know. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.